We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Aliens. A common beloved theme that just never gets old, whether the beings are peaceful or threatening our existence. Welcome to a special edition of the As I See It series. Today on the spot we have Independence Day, released in 1996, and one of my favorite 90s films there is. Okay, so look, after I sat back and covered Godzilla 98, it was hard not reflecting on this film. For me, Independence Day may have been one of the earlier films next to the Godzilla series, Jurassic Park, that sparked my interest in sci-fi films. At this point in time, obviously the subject of little green mean beings from space wasn't new, but rather for centuries, man has pondered the what if. Contact is made. Will it be peaceful, or will it turn deadly? Whether you believe in alien life is up to you. But what is known is we love a good alien invasion story, stretching the imagination, whether it's in a game, literature, movie, War of the Worlds. A timeless film that set the bar, becoming a significant release in 1953. But even before that, the famed H.G. Wells novel blew the imagination of book lovers. And let's not forget the dramatized radio broadcast on Halloween 1938 that allegedly has been said to throw certain listeners into a panic.
What anything means. Wait a minute, something's happening. Humped shape is rising out of the pit.
So Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin's Independence Day all comes fresh off the heels of Stargate. And it only took one simple question being asked. Do you really believe the aliens built the pyramids? Roland and Dean's answer was a simple no. But wouldn't it be the most exciting day if we ever wake up and there were 14-mile wide spaceships covering the sky? Now it's pretty clear here that yes, the duo was less than skeptic about their beliefs. But they understood just how amazing and epic it would be to wake up and see breaking news, UFO spotted over the city. And boy did his team nail the presentation with this scene, even though I don't know how he didn't walk out the door and see this thing right in the sky, but it's still amazing. Independence Day would become the idea of this film, nearly being a 90s version of a large-scale alien invasion that stretched the imagination. Look, alien invasion movies never went away in the 60s and the 80s. However though, this movie depicts some destruction on a different level that hadn't been seen at the time. As you sit back and watch your favorite landmark cities get leveled, all in the form of amazing miniatures. Nowadays, this is really nothing special. We see this every movie, I swear, these days. But we're talking about advancements and changes in 25 years plus in the movie industry since Independence Day came out. But at the time, this was cutting edge. Jaw-dropping, and Independence Day would take the box office by storm, gathering a grand total of $817.4 million worldwide, snagging the #1 spot in a very competitive year with titles like Twister, Mission Impossible, Space Jam, and 101 Dalmatians. Independence Day was really Roland Emmerich's chance to claim fame on another level, making him the master of disaster with so many countless titles, whether you love them or you hate them. I mean, personally, I'm not too big on a lot of the more recent titles, but Independence Day checks out. Hey, I'll give him credit for Day After Tomorrow. Day After Tomorrow was extremely scientifically inaccurate, and yes, it did feel like a high-budget asylum film, but it's one of those films you can't take your eyes off. So let's talk about the cast and how this was essentially a three-headed monster juggernaut, with such an amazing main cast of characters that all had different backgrounds. Most of the movie they spend time apart, but it's near the end of the film during the ending solution of the film when they all come together. First up, we got Bill Pullman playing President Wetmore, who prior to the events of this film was a fighter in the Gulf War. As the film sets up, he's been dealing with some criticism due to his inexperience as a political leader. Then after that, we have Jeff Goldblum playing David Levinson, a crucial elemental character who's able to discover and decode the alien signal, which turns out to be a countdown to doom, in which the aliens or harvesters are planning a fully coordinated attack on a human race. Only here, there will be no peace, no time for talking, only war on the human race. Finally, we have Will Smith as Captain Stephen Hiller, who is a Marine FA-18 pilot but is also an aspiring astronaut. While this film wasn't Will Smith's breakout role, it did help cement him as an actor with so much acting range, from comedy to action hero.
Welcome to Earth.
As I mentioned, all the characters in this film are extremely different with their backgrounds, but the one thing they all have in common is they're all likable and have memorable quotes that just live rent-free in my head. which makes this movie extremely fun to watch at least once a year, and you're just waiting for those iconic scenes to pop in. Let's just say, in a sense, this film isn't overly dark like Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, because it does have its moments of comedic relief, but it doesn't feel oversaturated like, say, the MCU is known for. But it's charming and it's scattered throughout the film. So we gotta talk about the antagonists in this film, the Harvester aliens. Far more intriguing in this film than they were portrayed in Independence Day Resurgence. A film that I was hoping that I wouldn't have to mention at all. I want to keep it to a minimum. If you really wanted to know, Independence Day Resurgence is possibly one of the most disappointing movies I've seen in theaters in the last decade. But I'm not going to hold things up and talk about the movie too much, because let's get on and talk about the better half. Here, what we know about the aliens in this film is less personal, and their intentions for the most part of this movie, well, we know they're attacking us, but when we get down to clarity, or why or what did we do to them, it's simple really.
What is it you want us to do?
They want our planet and us gone. They're willing to launch an aerial attack, then send in their military crew to exterminate the survivors. Simply cause a societal collapse where we are left with less to defend ourselves. There's one scene in this film that always gets me, the freak show scene. Yeah, while you are staring at a weak, unsuited enemy, you are still, as a viewer, feeling pure danger, knowing this enemy has far superior technology. Despite the fact that yes, we possess one of their ships, we know very little behind this race, and we are far behind in the technology race compared to them. And when it boils down to it, this film properly dials back the comedic relief element, when Dr. Oakham is jokingly making light of the fact of how, in the last 24 hours, things have been exciting since the aliens appeared.
Exciting? People are dying out there. I don't think exciting is a word I'd choose to describe it.
Or how no one is laughing when Dr. Oakham is referring to the ones that they possess as the freak show. So you're watching a film that basically plays along with the simple storyline and just goes really smoothly as we progress to the end of this movie. Another character that needs to be brought up is Russell Case, who might be one of the most significant characters that you'll find on the lower billing in this film. Character-wise, he's essentially portrayed as an erratic alcoholic, former Vietnam War vet, often depicted as a crazy loon who's claimed he's been abducted himself. But the movie doesn't exactly give any clarity of whether it was the Harvester aliens or another race that we don't see in this movie that appears in this universe. But it's clear he insists this happened, but again, this film doesn't clarify that if his story is just an delusion. So this one is up to the viewers to decide. But what we do know, he's out for revenge no matter what and redemption during this midlife crisis, which leads to him showing the world the largest weak point that the alien ships have, and then after that we go from there and take them all down. What's amazing is knowing how different the ending of this film was supposed to be, with the change being that Russell would fly his crop duster into battle with a missile on the wing. This was scrapped ultimately, and while it did seem random and fun, it gives the implication that Russell had made this decision to take his life some time ago. The actual scene in the film tells the viewer one thing when the missile fails to launch. He makes the hard decision on the fly, and this is during a time when the missiles are scarce. Hope is starting to slip. Even though they have an opening, it might not matter. The powerful decision is to sacrifice himself to protect his kid's future. It's far more impactful than him just flying in out of nowhere. Even though the crop duster with the missile would have been a sight to see in the final version, it takes away from the drama just a tad bit, if you want to be honest. Yeah, it would have been fun seeing the crop duster fly with F-18s and alien ships, but let's be serious, that would have been an easy target for him just to get shot out of nowhere by the alien ships. If anything, the original sequence does detail how much being in this dogfight means to Russell. He knows he needs to be up in the sky. After all, he's at an all-time low and feels like the only thing he has to offer in this low point in his life is simply being rejected. Overall, refilming and redoing the ending bit of this film is something that I'm a major fan of. Now the other part of this, we need to talk about what caused the opening for the ship in the first place to be attacked. Because this movie details that we don't have a weapon to do the job. Hell, we sacrificed Houston, Texas for this. A failed attack on our end with nuclear weapons, showing that the shields are completely resistant to man's most powerful weapon. Hope is all gone until one little counterattack, which, yes, admittedly, it makes very little sense if you think about it. A human-made computer virus being implanted into alien technology, completely foreign to us. I guess David somehow understood the alien programming fast? Add on the fact that this mass virus is going to be uploaded from an Apple PowerBook. I guess it's explained in the deleted scene that David's character discovered the programming structure in the alien ship, being a binary code, and then the code would be reversed. So, I'm understanding that once they dock the ship, David was able to directly link to the mothership wirelessly, which opened the window for attack. Somehow the little 95 Apple laptop that could, with a max 8MB memory, sent out a virus to a whole alien fleet. So this kind of makes me wonder, are the Harvesters a race that weren't familiar with the concept of malware? I know it sounds crazy. You've developed nuke-resistant shields, lifelike biosuits, weapons that man can't possibly touch, deep space travel, but no firewall to prevent said attack, which maybe it wasn't something that they had a grasp of the concept of, especially if this was a new virus they never encountered. Yeah, it's just one of those 90s speed bus jump moments, Ripley climbing out of an airlock after the Queen literally grabbed her leg in the 80s, mashing buttons, quickly hacking, then yelling, "I'm in." I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't hurt the movie a whole lot, but it is amusing to think about though when you really think about it. But that's kind of the thing when it comes to movies like this, because you think too hard, you end up ruining the movie, and a lot of this is just mindless popcorn fun. Final take, Independence Day is an epic film from the 90s that every science fiction fan should check out at least once. It sours me out this film never got a proper sequel. When I found out Will Smith was not going to be involved with the sequel Resurgence, that concerned me big time. I love the idea, the marketing, and the build for that movie, I'll admit. You know, the whole alternate universe timeline for mankind. But a full rant of that film is a job for another day. Maybe next year. It's just not very high on my list, though, if you guys ask about it. If anything, hopefully someday there's A true sequel that disregards Resurgence, or B, a movie that details the events of the Congo Ground War. There's a whole story there that might actually be more interesting than Resurgence. Well, that sums it up for this very special edition of As I See It. Wherever you're watching this from, you have a great day. Thanks for your time, like, subscribe, sound off in the comment section. I'll catch you later.